At the end of the day, all men seduce because of biology. That's just the way nature wired us. It made us need to mate in order for the human race to continue. However, what varies from that, because that's a point that's just universal, but is this style of seduction. So where do you fit into that as a man? What is your style of seduction? Because there's men that seduce because of desperation. They're desperate. And there's men that seduce because of sport. They lack certain things or whatever the reason. It's a sport to them. They do it out of a game sort of place. And then there's those men that seduce out of fear. And that's the type I'm going to talk about, because that's what I was. I was a man that was fearful to be alone. I could not stand the thought of just me being with myself. And that fear of loneliness caused me to go from relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship, just jumping from one relationship to the next. No matter what the outcome was, I just needed to continue being with someone, because being with me was not an option. And that's the man with fear, because I was afraid of being alone. I was afraid of being lonely. I was afraid. And the seduction for me wasn't out of a sport. You know, I'm not or trying to get with like a million girls because I need validation or it makes me feel that I'm worth something because of it. And also it wasn't because of desperation, because deep down, I knew I could be with someone if that's what I wanted to do. But it was out of fear. It was out of ending relationships and probably ending when I wasn't ready to end. Because there's a difference when you are in a relationship and there's an end in sight, and then you can get kind of prepared for it and you can jump out. But that was never the case for me. And mainly because I was blind to how relationships work. Especially women will end a relationship before the relationship ends. You don't even see it coming. They'll check out. And they do this internally even before you know about it externally. So I would end these abrupt relationships and end up in a cycle of, okay, if I can't go back, then I got to move forward now. And whoever was next, she was getting the next relationship with me. Like there was not an option for me. There was not a search. There was not a healing. It was more, okay, this relationship ended. This feels horrible. I need someone to like get my attention. And I just did that over and over and over again. Now, this latest time, I face me. I said, okay, they can't all be the problem, right? The problem's got to be me, because I can't just be in relationship after relationship and failing because everyone that I meet is a bad person or not the right person, or it can't be. Luck and probability's got to be on my side at one point. So I face myself and I face all my problems and my demons and everything that I had. Still working on it. I don't think we all, none of us ever get done with that work. But I've done enough to look back in retrospect and go, okay, I see what it was. And the mistakes that I thought were mistakes were really just rushing into things that I was not ready for. Now, looking even further into this, our attachment style, right? If we are leaving a relationship abruptly, then our attachment style changes because now we are attaching to the next person and we are giving them the responsibility to fill that gap, that hole, that void that the last relationship left. And it's not fair. It's not gonna work and it's doomed to fail. And taking the time to explore these things and look within yourself, it makes a ton of a difference. Actually, most men, I believe, have not been alone ever. You're born and you're with your mother. And then you're with either, maybe you got roommates, or maybe you go into your first relationship or your whatever relationship. And so you're never alone. It's never where I am alone going to be with me, look at myself in the mirror, take responsibility for every single piece of action that I take. Because when you're a kid and you're with your mom and family, then there's a certain blame, right? Like, well, my mom didn't cook, or my mom did. It's a blame. And then when you go into a relationship, it's like, oh, well, I'm failing because this person is not supportive. There's always a crutch. And what happens is when you're alone, just you, yourself, and you look at yourself in the eyes, in that mirror, there's no one else to blame but you for the good or the bad. You could take the credit for the good, but the bad, that's all you. There is no one to blame. No one's stopping you. No one's holding you down but you. That's a realization that most men don't make, because since the day we are born, we are hopping from person to person to be a crutch, to be an excuse, to be a reason why things work or don't work. And all of this stuff that I put out is because my generations to come, and to me, and to remind myself, but I want my grandkids one day to look and see what grandpa learned, right? And be like, okay, I see that. Let me not make that mistake. Maybe it helps you. It definitely helps me, because even in this retrospective way and putting it out and recording it and uploading it somewhere, it heals me a little bit, because it lets me know, okay, I realized that, I captured it, I can put it away and close that cycle and on to the next learning lesson. If someone you know needs to or should listen to something like this, please share it. And make sure you're subscribed. And yeah, this is as real as it gets. Like, there is no scripting, there's nothing here. You know what I mean? There's no AI, nothing, just thoughts, experience, a lot of pain, a lot of heartbreak, a lot of hardship, that if I had someone that told me what I'm telling you now, maybe I could have avoided 50% of it or more. Maybe 100%. I don't know. So hopefully what I'm telling you resonates. And instead of you just brushing it off and think that you know it all, think about it. Think about being alone. And if you can't stand the thought of you being alone by yourself, with yourself, don't put the burden on someone else to now have to deal with a person that don't even want to be with themselves. Now you're putting the burden on someone else to want to be with you? Think about it. It's just not rational. So, till next time, peace.